Hey there tubers, and welcome back to the video series on how to start a workshop on a budget. Alright, last video we talked about safety and some of the things that you need to be aware of when starting your workshop. Today in this video we're going to talk about the basic tools that you need for your workshop. Now keep in mind, depends on the type of medium that you want to get involved in. Alright, there are specific tools for your medium. For this video, we're going to talk about a wood shop and a metal shop. Now, there may be some of you out there that already have a good tool base, but for those of you who don't, this will help you get started. And there might be some other people watching this video that could offer other suggestions on other tools to add to that tool base. This isn't limited to the tools that I talk about. These are just the basics in my opinion. Alright, so let's get started. First and foremost, you need to be able to measure things. Get yourself a decent tape measure. Alright, I would consider a decent tape measure something that goes up to at least 25-30 feet. It has a way for you to hook it onto your side, that way you don't put it down and lose it. And if you're just getting into measuring things, look for the tape measures that actually have the numbers written on the tape. Now I'm talking in increments, so it'll say 1 inch and an eighth, or it'll say, a half. It'll have that written on here. But do yourself a favor and start to get used to not looking at those particular numbers and understanding what each of those little lines mean on a tape measure, okay? All right, after the tape measure, another good basic tool to have in your shop would be a hammer. Okay, now I'm sure everybody knows what a hammer is used for, but on top of putting in nails, taking out nails, all right, this is a basic hammer. There are a variety of hammers out there, from framing hammers to ball peen hammers to dead blow hammers to rubber mallets. Don't concern yourself with all the differences right now. Just get yourself a nice cheap hammer. This is another one, the drill. Okay. This is battery operated. You can also get a corded drill, but this has a forward, it has reverse, it can be used for screwing in screws, it can be used for putting holes in things. It's a great all-around kind of tool. If you're going to be building projects, you're going to need a drill. So make sure that you pick up a drill. Now, I'm not pushing any particular brand. However, I do tend to go more towards the Ryobi brands just because they're inexpensive and they tend to last quite a long time. I can't say that I've really had a Ryobi tool that has failed over a long period of time. Like this drill I've had for several years already. The batteries have to be replaced, every, 6 to 8 months if you use them a lot. But they're great, solid drills, and it seems like it'd be a pretty good company to get your equipment from. So, and again, they're inexpensive, and that's the idea, stay on a budget. The next tool, circular saw. All right, now I'm a fan of the circular saw because it's quick and it's easy. Now, if you're just starting out, this can be a little intimidating. All right, it's a big powered motor and it's got a lot of noise and it spins real fast and it cuts really cool stuff. But you may want to start out with a handsaw. I would caution you though, on a handsaw, it can be just as frustrating sometimes because it'll bind in the wood or maybe you don't get a straight cut out of it. But it's going to be up to your comfort level. I would say that as soon as you can move up to a circular saw, get you one. All right, because this is going to make your work so much easier. And the only way that you're going to get good at what you want to be doing is to practice. So get this guy, run it across some wood, cut some wood. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to use a tool like this. All right, a straight edge, and I'm talking a good straight edge. All right, other basic tools that would go in your workshop would be a good straight edge. All right, this is a framing square. All right, it's actually designed for framers who build houses. So if you want to get a straight line that is going perpendicular, all right, to the board that you're working on, this is a good tool to have. Another good tool is a square. All right, this is just a little quick and easy. You put it on the edge, you draw a straight line. But what's nice about this is this has a variety of degrees that you can use and some measurements on there. I'm not going to go into the detail about how to use a square. You can find that on YouTube videos throughout. But again, invest in some of these. They're not super expensive, so it's good to have a good quality square. Now, after you've got your basics, which we just talked about, if you've got a little extra cash, I would go ahead and put some money into a jigsaw. Now, in doing woodwork, a jigsaw can be one of your best tools, especially if you're talking about rounding some edges, or if you have to make some curved lines, or if you need to drill a hole in the center of a piece of wood and you don't have a drill bit that's big enough for it. All right, that's when these guys come in handy. They're a little bit less intimidating than a circular saw, so sometimes people go for these as opposed to a circular saw. The difference is they don't necessarily cut straight because you're dealing with a smaller blade, and unless you can put a guide fence or something like that. This is another tool that we're going to talk about in the next video. So, but I would say this is a bonus basic tool, jigsaw. So that covers your basic tools for a wood shop. Now we're going to move on to the basic tools in a metal shop. Now for metal, you're going to use some of the same tools that you use, say, in a wood shop. You're going to use a drill, and you're going to use a tape measure, and you're going to use your straight edge. All right. Now, those are your basic tools for both styles of shop. Where it varies is how you cut the metal and how you put it back together again. Now, in order to cut the metal, I would suggest using a grinder. This is a 4.5-inch grinder. Again, it's a Ryobi. One of the things that I do like about Ryobis, and again, I am not sponsored by Ryobi, but I just prefer their tools because they're inexpensive but they're durable, is they tend to have longer extension cords. For some reason, I love that. So get yourself a good 4.5-inch angle grinder, all right, and then some cutoff wheels to go on that angle grinder, because that's what's going to help you cut the metal. Now, you can cut straight shots, you can cut 45s. That's where that speed square comes in handy. So you can also take this metal cutoff wheel off, and you can put a flap wheel on, which is like a sanding wheel for a grinder, and you can help grind off those burrs that will occur when cutting metal. Now, you got it cut. How do you put it together? Well, you could use your drill, you can drill some holes, you can bolt it. But hey, you got a metal shop. You want it to be cool, so you want to weld it, right? Now, if you go and pick yourself up a cheap welder, now I'm talking inexpensive, say under $100. It's totally possible. You can first check Craigslist, but I would say go to Harbor Freight. Again, I'm not sponsored, but they have an inexpensive welder that you can pick up and plug right into the wall and start welding that very same day. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so this welder was not actually purchased at Harbor Freight. It was given to me as a gift probably about 15 years ago. It was picked up at Home Depot. Home Depot also has a smaller gasless welder. All right, and when I say gasless, you don't need gas to go through this welding machine to do your welds. Most welding machines, you have to use a combination of gases depending on the type of welder that you're using. This is gasless, all right? However, in order to do your welding, you have to have a special type of welding wire called flux core, all right? It's like a tiny shield that goes around the actual wire that helps kind of protect it before it gets to the metal. To pick up a welder like this at Harbor Freight will run you just about $100. To pick up the wire will probably run about $10 or $12. The really cool thing is you don't have to have gas, and it's regular 120 power, which means you can plug it into any house outlet. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you go plug it into any house outlet without knowing which outlets are plugged into other things. These things still draw a lot of power. So if you're plugging into a standard house outlet that has another 10 items plugged in somewhere else in the house, there's a good chance you might blow the breaker. So make sure that wherever you plug it in is an isolated service. All right, try to keep as minimal amount of other things on that breaker because you're going to pull a lot of power this guy. This would be the way to go if you're going to get started in welding. Pick yourself up a gasless 120 welder. This is going to get you started, and it's going to get you practicing, and it's going to get your feet wet, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so I would say that those are the basic tools that you need for either a metal shop or a wood shop. Now, there are probably going to be some people out there who can offer other suggestions to get other tools, but again, these are the very basics. With these tools right here, I would say you can get any project done that you want to get done. Now in the next video, we're going to go over how to use some of these tools. So that's going to give you time to maybe go out and get some, start looking at prices. Okay, you now have a list of basic tools that you can go buy to start either your wood shop or your metal shop. Again, they're basic. There are hundreds of thousands of tools out there that you can add to your collection, but this is going to get you started. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to use these tools. So, see you next week. Thanks for watching my video. If you like what you saw, then do me a huge favor and subscribe by pushing that button right there. If you're already a subscriber, but you want to find out how you can support me in other projects, then why don't you check out my Patreon campaign by hitting that button right there. Now, if you've got a little bit extra time on your hands and you want to check out some more of my videos, why don't you go ahead and click that right there and you can see one of my other videos. See you next time.